Hello everyone, Rahe here with ENDREA Consulting again. I'm here today with Jesse and we're going to talk a little bit about engaging and retaining millennials today. So real quick, I want Jesse to explain who he is, what his company does, and then we'll jump into some information.
Yeah, so like Tara said, my name is Jesse Hallock. I work with Arabona Coaching and Training, and our company helps organizations engage, develop, and retain their young talent. So that's who I am, and that's what we do.
Young talent, that's the hot topic, and it has been for a couple of years now. Everybody wants to know how to work with millennials, what to do with millennials, how to keep millennials and stuff. So this is definitely for small, medium businesses.
Oh yeah.
A hot topic, so that's why I brought him in, is so we can learn a little bit more. So we're going to jump right into some very hot topics with it, some very interesting things like keeping millennials. So what do millennials value about a business? When they're looking at a company to work for, a company to stay with, what are some things that they value about a company that they're looking at?
Yeah, and so even before I answer that question, I'm going to jump on the hot topic thing. I just saw a statistic like last week that young millennial turnover is costing the U.S. economy $30.5 billion a year.
Oh my gosh.
So there are probably some of you out there who are feeling a little bit of that pain.
Wow.
And so, and a big part of that comes down to just different values. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to work at a place that pays them well, that has a good boss, that has great benefits, that has all of these things. Like, everyone wants those, but because the values are at a different place, millennials are willing to leave jobs for different things than previous generations were willing to leave jobs for. So what do they value at work? They value the ability to grow and develop. And so if they don't feel like they're getting enough training or enough coaching, or if they don't feel like that they're moving forward, even if it's not in promotions, but feeling like they're advancing somewhat, they'd be willing to leave a great paying job.
Wow.
Which again, that's changed a little bit, because yeah, everyone wants to grow, but if you've got a good job that's stable, previous generations haven't been so quick to jump away from a job just because I don't feel super fulfilled, or I don't feel like I'm growing enough. So those are some of the values that have caused that shift.
Well, that's what for myself. I mean, I fall right on the cusp. I'm not a millennial, but I'm like right on the border of, right above there. So I know when I just started in my career and stuff, it was more focused on everybody jumping because of money. Money was the biggest thing. You would hope for the promotion, but it was more the promotion of, we want that title.
Right.
Not necessarily the growth, which is huge, that companies need to probably focus a little bit more on their training, their career development, the long-term goals with these individuals.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the misconceptions that a lot of companies have is that their primary value proposition to their employees is, hey, I pay you this much and these are your benefits. But that value proposition doesn't hold as much weight for young employees. They want a value proposition that says, where am I going to be in all the other areas of my life, not financial? Especially in the time when our economy is good, where you're pretty likely to find a competitive wage just about wherever you go. So that's not the number one thing anymore.
So it's not the money and the benefits like
right. And obviously, like, those are important. If you have a job that's not taking care of you, you'll leave. But because of where we're at, that's so much easier to find. Now we're on to the next level of, well, do I feel fulfilled? Do I feel engaged to what my company is doing? And that's just a little bit different. That's been shifting over time.
Yeah, it's definitely different from when I started out in my career. Definitely. So then that kind of brings up the next question I was curious about is, why do they leave? I mean, talking to over the years, different companies and stuff, a lot of people left solely because their direct manager of what was happening. Is that still the case for millennials, or is that a little bit different?
Yeah, so Gallup came out with a poll. Their poll last year said that 75% of Americans have left a job because of a manager. And so, like, that includes this younger generation where nobody wants to work for a leader that's draining them or that's holding them back. Maybe some may feel like that. And so that's definitely a part of it. But I've even, along with the promotion and advancement, like, that's still a priority. I've even heard a story a couple weeks ago of somebody who left a job, went to another company for a year with the plan of coming back to the original company, getting hired at a position that was higher than they could have been promoted to. And so, like, that's just, like, that's kind of crazy. But, like, there's that element where it's, I need to be moving forward. And in the digital age where everything is happening super quick, I think that there's an expectation that will carry over into work, that development will happen like this, that promotions will happen like this, that everything will happen just like that. And realistically, companies can't do that. Like, there are only so many positions to be promoting for.
So how you keep on mentioning they're making changes like this and
Right.
stuff like that. So do you see that millennials then, they're more quick to, I'm done with it. Like, my generation, probably a little bit older and stuff, they'll sit at a job for years and be like, well, I'll give it X amount of months. I'll give it some more time. Millennials are their just lifestyle is more fast paced, and we want everything instant gratification. So does that fall into work also, where they're, okay, I gave you one chance to help me, I'm done with you now?
Right. I think that that's absolutely the case. And I think that there is both a positive and a negative to that, because the positive side of, like, there's nobody else that's in charge of their life. Like, if they're looking for something in their life, nobody else is just going to give it to them. So if they're going to make that move, like, great, nobody else is going to do that for them. On the other side, you're looking at a lack of commitment, but you're also seeing with, I think, communication changes, the communication style that's changed over the course of generations, where now younger generations are less likely to approach their manager or the business owner and say, hey, these are the things that are contributing to me thinking about leaving. And they're not even given the chance to have those conversations first. Because I think, at least from my experience, managers would love to hear, what is it that, like, what can we do? Because sure, they may not be able to do everything, but they're likely to be able to do some things.
Well, they can't assume. The managers can't assume what is going through your mind of what you want.
And so I'm definitely sure that some of you guys out there have experienced having somebody just say, oh, I'm done, you guys aren't giving me what I want. It's like, well, wait, whoa, where did that come from?
What are we not doing?
Right, exactly. And so, like I said, there are pros and cons there, but companies are facing the brunt of that.
So with that then, like, I mean, obviously there's some things you pointed out, like, that we can, as small business owners, be doing and preparing for, but what are the main things that you think we should be focusing on and doing? Because, like you said, they're not coming to you and talking to you, so we're just assuming, and that these are things that we should know, and it's not gonna change and go back to the way it used to be anytime soon.
Right.
So what should we be doing proactively as a small?
Well, if you're not able to promote someone every single year, which most people probably can, there are things that don't require a huge budget, but they require some intentionality. And so one of the alternatives that I have seen work is for companies to approach their young professionals and just ask them, like, what is it that you're looking for at this job, or what are some even small changes that we can make that would help you be more engaged or feel more connected to what we're doing. That doesn't cost any money. It takes a little bit of humility to be able to ask that question and hear the answer. But then another practical thing that you can do, even though, yes, there's a value on promotion, there's the inherent value underneath that is also growth and development. And so there are things that companies are doing where they're providing, like, side projects where, look, I'm not going to promote you to this entirely new position, but I'm going to give you a side project aside from your traditional role that maybe taps into your area of interest or taps into your passion, or maybe it's a project that maybe somebody normally your senior would be doing, but it gives opportunities for them to start stretching their wings a little bit and feeling that growth, feeling that tension, while not having to commit to an entire promotion and all of the finances that accompany that. And so even just the side project gig has been really helpful for a lot of companies, just trying to get their young people to grow and fulfill some of those needs.
Well, that's what you kind of touched on it with small and medium businesses. They don't necessarily have the budgets out there to have the turnover and the switch and to add these different programs, but those little things are golden, like the side projects. You're also freeing up your management extra time to be doing something even higher focused.
Yeah, and just jumping off of that as well, I think it was Deloitte did their management study, this was from last year as well, that said only 5% of companies feel like their leadership pipeline is very strong. Like, that's a ridiculously low number. But in doing this little side project thing, when it does come time to promote, and you actually have that position open, you now have a little bit more data to go on. Oh, I've seen this person function in these projects that maybe have elements of these roles. You're not just going on how they operate in their current position. You have to go off of how they operate there and in other areas. And so I think it also helps in the long term as well with succession planning.
Yeah, and also with that, it's not necessarily just that you have the data. you also have them already understanding that position a little bit.
Absolutely.
So they get they've done
Absolutely.
part of that job.
Yeah.
So it's easier transition into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's honestly helpful for everyone, and you can even tie that into motivating your young employees, because you maybe can't take away parts of their responsibilities that they're already doing just because that's the way staffing works sometimes. But young people are really, everyone can be really resourceful with the right motivation. But you can even say, look, if you finish this project by this time, I'll let you do this side thing that fits into your area of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a double win, because now all of a sudden they have a whole new batch of incentive to finish what they're already doing so that they can do that thing that they're really interested and want to do as well. So there are a lot of ways that will benefit your company, and it's not costing you extra. It's just costing you some intentionality and some time.
And some thought process through it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen on accident, but when you do it well, you're going to see results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wonderful. There's so much things. I mean, we could sit here and probably talk for days about this, but the one thing that I want to get from you is, what is your biggest tip that small, medium businesses would ask you? Like, what is the one thing that you're like, okay, you need to know this when we're talking about retaining and engaging millennials?
Yeah, so my number one tip for small, medium-sized businesses would be create a culture of check-ins. And what I mean by that, you don't have to hire any consultant for that. You don't have to, I mean, you can hire us if you want. That'd be great. But one of the differences that you're seeing in the generations now is younger generations want less independence in a certain way. Like, they want more manager involvement, and not like over involvement, right? Micromanagement, but to check in, even every month, if you're not doing that, every couple weeks, just say, hey, how's it going? How is this project going? And something like that builds a connection that young employees crave with their managers and with the business owners. And so that's something, again, not going to cost you anything, but that check-in culture will automatically start growing the engagement of your young professionals at your company. So that would be my go-to.
Wow, see, that is not at all, because you think the millennials, a lot of it is, we want the independence. We want the independence.
Right.
They want the independence, but yet they want to know that they're appreciated, the check-ins side of it. That is, I would never have thought that.
Well, I'm going to jump in here. You're seeing that also play out generationally, where you're starting to see less and less young people get driver's licenses when they're in high school. Mm-hmm. You're starting to see a lot of other areas socially where that independence that used to be fought for from previous generations, like, we're going to get out of the house and do this stuff on our own as soon as possible, we're seeing that change. And so that's flowing over into the workforce, where they want that connection. They want somebody to notice what they're doing and be involved in what they're doing. And that's something that takes time, but it makes a huge difference.
They want that, the participation awards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, wonderful. I love sitting down and talking to you all the time. There's been some great information that, as you could tell, I even was shocked about and learned something new every day. So, thank you so much. Love talking to you, Jesse.
Absolutely,
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. Hope this was helpful, guys.
Yes, thanks so much.